I'm trying to record. Right. Okay. So please note this. When you are communicating, the way you communicate and what you communicate will affect retention. Now, the reason why I'm talking about school value is how these things affect school retention. When we talk about school retention, I'm talking about staff retention, I'm talking about parent retention. Your communication, I said it must be process based. It must not be person based. It must be based on process. I'm sorry to say there, but there are so many school leaders that really cannot distinguish these two things when communicating with staff, especially when staff don't deliver or don't do what they're expecting. See, let me tell you the truth. Each and everybody that works in your school is a product of the environment where they grow up. And they're all product of the quality of education that they have. And I'm sorry to say our education system in Nigeria currently, um, I may be wrong, but I've moved across different schools. I've heard the pains of school leaders for me to understand that this thing is affecting us deeply. And the reason is because there's a systemic error. Oh, yes, there's a way we build discipline in people to make them fit for workplace. The attention or the need for certification is attended to more than the need for capacity in the workspace. Oh, yes. So the education system produce certain people. See, you can't fight individuals for what systems produced. So when you look at what we are dealing with, it helps you as a school leader to be able to understand how you are going to talk, because every encounter that you are having with school staff is another training. It's as if they are entering another 100 level or they are in another SS1 class. Because if it looks very odd, I'm so sorry, but that's the reality. That's the reality. You will need to babysit some people, despite the fact that they hold leadership position in your school. And the best way to do that, or the best way to get them to size, is not to be attacking their person. They themselves know that they procrastinate. They know that they don't submit things on time. They know that they don't meet deadlines. They know that if you give them reports, they can't create a report and that will be sent and people will say, wow, who did this? They know. So when you are saying the obvious, instead of them making change, they just walk again, they just follow it. That's why I don't think it's better to communicate at the personal level than it is to communicate at the process level. Process. When things are not done, who are the people that are meant to do it? And what are the consequences for not doing it? Oh, Coach Wale, if I put consequence again, they will leave. No. See, let me tell you, people don't leave a school because of consequence. People leave a school because of the perception of reward. The perception of reward. I'm telling you the truth. The organizations that gives the most actually drive the most. I'm telling you, the organization that drives the most actually give the most. Look at the US government. It's a case study that sometimes I want you to sit down and think and read about it and really follow me in the train of thought. USAID gives the most in the world. However, the US Army fights the most. I'm telling you the truth. You can't do away with them, but you have to do their bidding by force. And see, if you will not if you will not understand the mix of these things, we will keep talking about how, oh, this stuff, this one, and then you are forced or you are put under a trap. I call it leadership trap. Leadership trap is when you see that staff are not doing something well, but you are scared to talk to them because they might leave. They might leave your school. And the reason why you are scared of talking to them is because if they leave your school, it will take you another eternity to get another person. By the way, it's very important to understand that you have to put a mix of consequence and reward. Consequence and reward. You bear the consequence. If you want to leave, yes, leave. The only thing is, if you leave, I don't know. I'm not trying to say that it's not possible, but I don't know if there could be a place where you will enjoy teaching condition, where you will enjoy welfare condition, like in my school. See, if you set that one, the consequence can continue. I'm telling you, the consequence can continue. So when we are communicating, we communicate at process level. We don't communicate at personal level. Don't look and say, why are these people doing? You will give yourself unnecessary stress. I'm telling you, you will give yourself unnecessary stress. Leaders, school leaders that are doing well, they lead by principles. They lead by principles. Oh, yes, they lead by principles. Oh, what does principle mean? If you say something, it is systemized so much that it is bigger than you. For example, how do you increase the staff pay? Is it by emotion? Is it just anyhow? If you do that, you are causing a serious problem for your school. Oh, yes. The last person you gave something to, what were the things? What were the antecedents for giving it? Principles. When you said 2 people are going to be penalized, what happened to those 2 people? Were they penalized? Did you say it and it happened? When you called for reports and said, if that report don't get to me by 3 p.m., everybody should understand that they are in for it. The report did not get to you until the following day and nothing happened. You see the problem? Then after that happened, because of emotional outburst, you begin to say things that you are not supposed to say as a school leader. You begin to go into the personal zone, attacking them. And let me tell you, human beings cannot see their faults. They only see what you say, what you do, and what you do to them. Oh, yes. So all of a sudden, this person is no longer thinking of himself or herself as the culprit or as the person that caused the problem. He now sees himself or herself as said, how can she be talking to me that way? And you know why? Because the process level was not activated. All the communication was based on personal level. Please don't assume for your staff. Oh, yes. There are many people that have 20 years experience and somebody with just 2 years experience is better than them. Experience does not equate results. Honestly speaking, experience alone does not equate results. And please permit me, age does not also equate results. It's not by age. It's not by the years of experience. There are certain things that you need to look into. You know, I love the component of emotional intelligence very well. And honestly speaking, it's something that every school leader should adopt, should look at, especially when you are employing leaders into your school. Look at the first. The first component of emotional intelligence is awareness. What's the essence of awareness? So that you won't have unrealistic expectation. Oh, yes. So you won't have unrealistic, because it's dangerous. When staff have unrealistic expectation, it's dangerous. It affects their performance. So awareness, know yourself, know myself, know me, myself. I'm the school head. I'm the school leader. But I want you to know this is who I am. This is how far I go. This is what I can offer you. This is what I'm offering. Oh, yes, awareness. Every time you settle the place of awareness in leadership or when you are dealing with people, you will solve the problem of unrealistic expectations. Oh, yes. If you drive good car as a school owner, drive it, but make sure you talk about certain things when you are in staff meeting. Make sure you talk about certain things when you are in parents meeting, so the parent don't think that you don't need their money. Oh yes, there are some parents that are not paying school fees right now because they feel you don't need. It's not their money that and some people will say that it's not our money that you are using to run this school. We know God has blessed you, ma. Telling you so that you will not drive them out for not paying school fees. Unrealistic expectation. This is so important. Look at the second one. The second one is motivation. Motivation. You need people that are self-motivated. You need people that are internally motivated. And what is the best way? You know, many times people used to ask that how many people are internally motivated or self-motivated in the country or in our environment. The truth of the matter is the people are not much, but our environment alone is a motivation. Oh, yes. The environment alone is a motivation. Very important. What does self-motivation or motivation, what does it mean? Ability to understand the consequence of an action, and you allow that understanding to determine your action. It is not feeling that should determine people's action. When I train teachers in emotional intelligence, I say it every time. It's not feeling, it's not how you feel. Oh, I'm even tired. I can't deal with this boy again. What does that mean? When you are motivated, in other words, it is the consequence. What if this boy is going to be the brightest ever that we have ever seen in a country like this in the next 10, 15 years? I want to register my signature. I want to put my name on his head that he will never forget me. That journey is not going to be easy, but it's going to be worthwhile. I say it to teachers. And honestly speaking, these are the needed aspects. These are the needed things. Number 3 is empathy. Empathy. Oh yes, empathy. Putting people in my shoe, or let the people put themselves in my shoe and I put myself in other people's shoe. Empathy. This is critical, especially when we talk about school value. How did I get here? Through communication. Your communication must be process-based. It must not be personality-based. It must not. So because of process, you allow data to determine your communication. A parent called. What do you know of that parent before you start responding? You know the parent is manipulative. You know the parent have a lot of, corny ways to do. It will help you. You won't just be emotional anyhow. Somebody is trying to use a particular someone to get through to you. Because of your level of, because of your level of intelligence, you can decode it before it comes. And so, you know what? You play it. You play the card well. Communication, process. Process is a critical part in communication. Every time I have the privilege to speak to school leaders, I always emphasize communication via processes. Oh, yes. Process communication. Very key. The fourth one is solution. Virtually, how do I deliver value in my school? Your solutions. What are the solutions that you offer? What are the things that you do in the school that solves problems? Oh, yes. What are the things that you do in your school that solves problems? Let me make you understand. Your value is in the problem that you solve. Number 1, attraction. Number 2, attention. Number 3, communication. Number 4, solution. Solution. When we talk about school value, it's not teaching. I'm sorry to say. It's not teaching. It's attention. Oh, yes. Teaching is an activity. The fact that a teacher handles a class doesn't mean the students will perform. Oh, yes. And it's an activity that is common. It's a generic activity. Sometimes when I speak to teachers about contributing to value of a school, this thing I'm sharing with you, I now take it like this, and then I put it speaking to teachers about it. contributing to school value. Sometimes when I'm speaking to them, I ask them the question. I begin to ask them, like, okay, so when we talk about, teaching, have you ever seen a school that exists currently that they don't teach? There's none. And all the schools have qualified teachers. Somehow, I don't know how it happened. All the schools have qualified teachers. They have quality curriculum. Of course, all those things can be bought. And they are words that can be put in flyer. And then everybody. What really single out a school is the ability to be able to take some of these things and put it to say attraction is ours is attraction. Ours is attention. We pay attention to details. Attention. Ours is communication. The way we speak, the things we say is process-based. Why? Because it's process that leads to results. It's not people. Oh, yes, it's process. You see, I'm not moved by the number of people doing something. I'm moved by what they are working on, not the people that are working. And that is very important. As a school leader, don't be moved by the number of people doing something. Be moved by what they are working on, because it's what they are working on that leads to results. It is process that guarantees results. If there are 5 chefs in a kitchen, the fact that that number doesn't mean their food will be sweet. It doesn't mean the food will be delicious. In fact, they have a lot of ingredients. Some people's food is supposed to be very good and tasty, but the real problem is that the ingredients were too much. So it is not the number of ingredients that determines the delicious nature of a food. It is the mastery of the process. The first thing we do, the second thing we do, this is the size and the quantity of what we are going to put. This is the number of minutes it's going to stay on fire before we add this. This is the number of minutes it's going to stay before we add this. Process. When you follow the process, you will have the results you desire. But if you go by just people, because people, human beings, we are object of feelings. We are. That's why the communication must not be a person-based communication. It's very important. If you want to achieve retention in your school, if you want to retain your staff, this is very important to pay attention to how you communicate to them. It's very important to pay attention to how you attend to them. Yes, don't make your staff afterthoughts. No, they are as important as the student in the school. And why do I say they are as important as the student? Because they are the one that deals with the student. If your attention is on the student, the minute you take your eyes away, you will notice that everybody joins. The people that you didn't pay attention to, they come in. Oh, actually, you don't know my staff. Some of them, they are animals. I understand. But do you know that even animals themselves, they understand process? All it takes and all you need is to make sure that you stick to the process. There's a reason why you have policy in your school. There's a reason why you have rules and regulation in your school. Let those rules take effect for once. Let it take effect. Don't put your emotion in line. When it's beginning of the month, you promise them that this month, I will make sure that I deduct this, I do this, I do this. When it's time to pay, you will have paid everybody before you remember there are some people to deduct. What is the problem? Process. So what you saw at the beginning, it will repeat itself again. Why? Because action rewarded is action repeated. For paying them after you said you are not going to pay them for certain things, you have rewarded that action. That's what you did. So it will repeat itself, because what you sent to them is that it is okay anytime Madam is talking, we know Madam that cannot stand us not going up with our full pay. She will even still give us extra. Oh, yes. That is why even if you want to give them extra, it should come in a systemic way. It should not just be based on emotion. Oh, yes. There are things you do for staff. I'll give a practical example. Last year I managed the school, but even though I'm still managing the school, but I managed the school. And the truth of the matter is that one of the teachers came and gave reason why she absconded for like 4 or 5 days. Yes, she didn't come. Said because my daughter was sick and this and this and this. Oh, so sorry. From my pocket, I gave her 3,000 naira. That, well, I know you will have spent money, but take. But she didn't know what that meant. Because the reason why she came was because the penalty for abscondment, so that it will be waived. So she came. I gave her money from my pocket. But they deducted that penalty, that consequence must be served. And so when I got to staff meeting, we are emotional beings and we are sentimental. So when I got to staff meeting, I noticed their countenance, every one of them. I said, let me make you understand. I said, even the God that we serve, even though he loved us so well, is not sentimental. If you jump from the top right now, if you jump and you jump down, there's no angel that will carry you, even though he loved you. Once you land, you will bear the consequence for landing. You will. Why? Because that thing is under a principle. For God to take care of you, he created a principle and remove himself from it. That all I need to do now is to just be watching how you will use your discretion and how you will understand consequence before you take action. Oh, yes. I said, if you go to the top of a skyscraper and you jump, you are gone. No matter how anointed, oh, God loves you. Oh, fantastic, God loves you. But there are things that he expected you to have known and do. If you don't do it, you will bear it. You will suffer for it. Walk into a police station and slap a police. Oh, yes. Say, because of what? I said, all of a sudden, in education, we don't want consequences. We just want people to just act normal. Who does that? What you are saying is that in this society, we don't want policemen again. We don't want soldiers. We don't want army. We don't want, we don't want any other person, because we assume that human beings will act normal. That is a costly assumption, because people will kill themselves. People will loot themselves. The powerful will oppress the powerless. Oh, we don't want media. We don't want any. No. If you oppress anybody, if you undo anybody anyhow, there are police stations, there are cells to sleep, there are courts, there are lawyers. You face courts, and whatever court rules, that's what it takes. When you see that, you understand that, oh, my school is not an exception. I have to make sure for people to live well, for them to go on well, for results to be achieved, I have to make sure that I put all these things in place. There must be check and balance. Oh, a proprietor told me one time, said, Coach Wale, thank you very much, but I don't believe in, deduction of salary. I don't know, but maybe we can come up with another consequence. I said, well, either you believe it or you don't believe it. It's one of the ways to be able to show staff, or to be able to show staff that there is consequence for every action taken. Oh, yes. I said, because there's another school that I was going to train the staff, and as myself, the school owner, and the principal was going, the school owner dragged me to the back, told the principal to go, and then told me, he said, Coach Wale, please, as you are going now, I want you to help me tell them, help me advise them. They should come early. So immediately I told the proprietress, I said, ma'am, I've never seen anyone that changed his mind and started coming early because the person was advised. I said, one of the core way to manage staff is to know what works for certain behaviors, is to know what to do in certain instances. It's a critical leadership competency to know what to do when staff behave in a certain way. When staff becomes disloyal, you must know what to do. When staff come late, you must know what to do. You don't advise a staff that comes late, because it's a behavioral problem. It's a conditioning problem. Something higher must happen for that staff to come early. I said, take for example, I said, if you decide as you are that you are going to be sharing 10,000 naira to any staff that comes by 7 a.m., I said, will they come? Oh, Some people will have been there 6:30. I said, you see, you don't really need advice. Honestly speaking, you don't need advice. What we need, a vivid and solid consequence statement. So when I got there and I was speaking, I said, oh, I learned that you people come late. Like 18 of you come late on the regular in this school. So I faced the principal. I said, sir, how much is lateness fee? The principal said it's 200 naira. Wow. I can't forget the school is in Ikorodu. 200 naira. That's fantastic. I said, going forward, anybody that comes late now is 2,000 naira. Everybody shouted, ah. I said, why are you shouting? I said, you don't need to pay. Just come early. You don't need to pay. Just come early. And you know what? When you are dealing with staff and you are dealing with retention, you have to understand that people don't just leave. Yes. See, no matter how good you are, or no matter your effort to retain certain people, some people will drop. Oh, yes. The essence of this training is to make sure that the exit of certain staff is not because of the flaw of your school. The exit of certain parents is not because your school is failing to do what the school is supposed to do. That's the essence. There are people, because you are effective, they can't stand for one term. I'm telling you, if you decide to raise the operation level, if you decide to raise the effectiveness level of the school, I'm telling you, there are people that can't function. Their presence is injurious to the school. So it's better for their absence to be felt. Very important. So, in all I've said, because next week, Tuesday, is another time. Like I said, this is going to be a weekly program that I believe that it will help. The things that I share will be able to help us to be able to get us up and grow the school. I don't want to say I'm tired, but I daily work with schools, and there are so many human issues, so many parent issues, so many staffing issues, so many student issues that we deal with on a daily basis. It's time for us to be able to take it up. Take it up. Very important, very key. Solution. You find solution. There are things that training will solve in staff. Honestly speaking, communication will not solve it. Oh, yes. There are things that coaching, having a one-on-one session between you, I didn't say external person, you and a staff, there are things that will solve. Training, general training will not solve it because he won't pay attention in training. There are people like that once the trainer comes in, the first thing the first 1 hour is to size the trainer. I remember I spent like 2 hours or 2.5 hours training a staff, and the school owner just came in. The chairman, not even the school owner, the chairman came in and pointed at one of them and asked, oh, what has Coach Wale been telling you since morning? And then all she was saying that, I don't really pick. The man just said, please go out now. Oh, yes, that person, possibly to fix her, may not be the general training. Honestly, there are things that will fix. There are things that policy will fix. There are things that consequences will fix. There are things that mentorship will fix. Now, the best thing, the very important thing is to be able to find solution to the problem at the time. That is how that is how we create value. Very important. Okay, we have come to the end of today's class. I want to appreciate everyone. This class will be uploaded again on the platform. Please, let's get ourselves ready. See you next week by God's grace. But let me use this opportunity, or let me use this to be able to say that, please, next week, Saturday, which is 29th of March, my training is coming up at the Bunker Alagomeji in Yaba. It's about school marketing. It promised to be an awesome time. Everyone that comes around that day will know the action steps to take to increase their enrollment in third term and the new session in September. Either secondary, preschool, and primary. We're going to be talking about a lot of marketing in school. There is preschool marketing, there is college marketing, there's elementary marketing. All these have different strategies to be able to get people into the schools at different times. I don't want you to miss it at all. Please, I've uploaded the flyer details on the platform, and I will also do that again. Please, I would like to see you all attend, send your marketing team or send your administrator or administrative team to come and grace that if you're in Lagos. If you're not in Lagos, you can also come. Thank you, everybody. This is awesome. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, what about those not in Lagos? Oh, well, you can, for example, in May, I'm doing that in Abuja. And before May, I think it's going to be happening in 1 or 2 cities in Southwest also. So please, it's going to be, I intentionally want to make this physical. Around July, we're going to do maybe online, and then during the course of this program, we'll have it. And Coach Wale still have different resources. I have different resources that you can get, ebooks, audiobooks. My new release of ebooks is School Supervisors Toolkits. School Supervisors Toolkit. If you want your supervisor to be very effective, you need this toolkit. I'm telling you, I'm not saying it because I'm the one that came up with that book. I'm saying it because it's high time we drive school performance with our supervisors. So that's my latest, and it's just 5K. It's 5,000 naira, and it's ebook. It's something that you can work on. It's something you can tweak. You can adjust it, and I believe that we can all have that. So next week Tuesday is going to be another time. I want to appreciate everybody for being here. Thank you, everyone. See you then.